Good morning. Welcome back to the One in Celtic Fans View, where you get the daily news and I read the Celtic headlines so that you don't have to trail around the internet and read the crappy headlines that's out there for yourselves. That's all this channel is. It's just a Celtic news channel. Anything else, you can forget about it. And you have a bit of a laugh. So the Celtic headlines that were kicking around from yesterday, some of them were absolutely unbelievable, but we'll go ahead with them and then we'll dive deep into some of the stories that were breaking in the last 12 hours or so. Reporter says Celtic could sell out of the transfer window. Rogers called him brilliant. That's alluding to the one and only James Forrest maybe going to America. Rio Hatate ends his Celtic injury silence as midfielder pens emotional message. We're going to jump over to Instagram and see what Rio Hatate wrote on Instagram. And then there's an interesting one. And Anthony Joseph names starting point fee that Celtic would consider to sell Matt O'Reilly. And that is believed to be between 25 and 30 million in the summer. Chris Sutton noticed something interesting about Kyogo Furiashi playing out of position for Celtic. He's been playing out of position for Celtic all season, Chris. And that's one of the things that the fans have been talking about. Everyone's saying that, look, bringing Kyogo deep back into the park is not working. It's not effective. Kyogo plays best when he's up there running off the back of defenders. And we really need to pick up the pace of the football for that to happen. We can talk about that in the video as well. Frankie Boyle has been talking about Celtic, big Celtic fan. And Celtic, this is a cracking one for Tony Haggerty. Celtic managed decline of the season feels like self-sabotage. Are we managing decline in the squad? It's always an interesting one, and it's something that's a lot of fans have said that's happened many, many times. We seem to spend 20, 30, 40, 50 million over a couple of periods, a couple of seasons, a couple of transfer windows, and then Lowell and Co decide to not spend as much money and they do call it a managed decline. So are we doing a managed decline at Celtic? Are we reducing the size of the squad, reducing the wage bill, for instance? You've got to remember there's a time where the majority of the squad were probably on around 30 to 35 grand, 40 grand, and on the road in 9 in a row. So the fact that most players are now on under 25 grand, you could say that people do have something in that. There is a managed decline at Celtic. Right, let's find out what Dyson Myra has been saying. Dyson Myra was obviously away with his national team, Japan, for the Asia Cup. And he took to Instagram after they were knocked out. And he said, "Thank you for the support in the Asia Cup. Feeling lonely, but got to keep on moving forward. Back on the team, and back on the grind. Hashtag Blue Samurai. Hashtag Japan national team. Hashtag Asia Cup." That's the one and only Dyson Myra. How we are needing him back on the wing to give us a good bit of pace. I think that's something that Celtic have been lacking over the past couple of weeks, is someone with that speed to get past players. Tell me what you think in the comments, because it is the One Celtic Fans View, and it's all about getting your view and comments on what's going on. Rio Hatate also took to Instagram, and he's come out after he's injured again. He is injured again. He's been injured most of this season, which has been unfortunate for the player. And he took an emotional social message, posting on Instagram also. And he wrote, "I could not contribute to the team. I am not good enough. I accept the reality and will continue to fight. Thank you for your support from the Asia Cup." What does that say with him coming back to Celtic when he's got that mindset that he's not good enough? At the beginning of the season, David Turnbull was the man in better form. Celtic have since sold him because he was in the last 6 months of his contract, and rather than let him go for absolutely free, Celtic decided to sell him, which were quite rightly so. I mean, I did say that if he's not going to sign a contract, and if Celtic are not going to sign let him get a new contract, sell the player and get some money in for him. I thought it was a fantastic piece of business getting £2 million in for David Turnbull, considering they only had 6 months left on his contract. I thought getting 400 to 500 grand would have been a fantastic piece of business, considering that we bought him for 3 million. So what was the true value of the one and only David Turnbull during his career at Celtic? He wasn't a first-team choice all the time. He probably had his best season in 2020 when we had an absolutely terrible season, but it wasn't first choice, and he never got a game. He never got near the team under the previous manager also. Frankie Boyle You got to love Big Frankie, Big Tim. And he's took to Twitter and he says there should be a Peter Lawwell difficulty setting on Championship Manager where you get to generate 20 million in sales and get in a loan signing. It's a lot of Frankie having a little bit of a dig to Celtic board and Peter Lawwell about the fact that, and when you look at it, we only spent £1 million in the last transfer window due to sales outgoing. So it's going to be interesting when it comes to the set of accounts that comes out in the next month or so, the half term, the interim accounts. There has been one person in the press, Mark Goody. He has said that Celtic will be sitting, when they release the accounts, Celtic will be sitting with £85 million in the bank. A January window that promised so much for Celtic, and we all wanted to go out and buy Movovsky. There's been various outlets have said, look, Celtic, and various people have said, look, Celtic could have got him for 5 million. And then other people are saying that Aberdeen, if Celtic came calling, were wanting between 8 and 9 million. So there has to be a number in between. Either way, Celtic were not going to spend more than 5 million on a player from Aberdeen. We can talk about it all day long. It's in the past. It's the transfer window. We have to now look forward and look to the games that are ahead of us. And those games coming up in February, the rest of February looks like this. We play on Wednesday evening. We play Hibernian away in the SPFL. Another important game considering Brendan Rodgers does not have the best of records away to Hibernian. And then up on this Sunday coming, it's a big game as far as I'm concerned. It's probably the biggest game of the month because it's the Scottish Cup. And if we have any aspirations at all to doing the double, the way that we're going, Celtic might end up only winning the Scottish Cup. That would be a surprising end to the season if we were only to win the Scottish Cup. I still think that we have it in our squad as long as everyone sticks together and as long as the team blocks out the negativity that is coming from the fans online. We do play St Mirren away on Sunday, and it's going to be an interesting one. We'll talk about that later in the week. But first up, we've got Hibernian Easter Road, then St Mirren, and then after that, we're back to Celtic Park on the 17th of February when we play Kilmarnock, and that alone will be a hard game. Although Motherwell did drop points, Kilmarnock and Motherwell drew at the weekend. Kilmarnock would be thinking that they would win that game, considering Motherwell were down in 10th position. They'd be thinking that they could close the gap and maybe get a little bit closer to Heart of Midlothian. Hearts are in third place on 45 points, and Kilmarnock have now slipped away slightly. With St Mirren only 1 point behind them. So it's two games coming up that are going to be really difficult games for Celtic. The whole month isn't looking that great. And then we're away to Motherwell at Fir Park on the 25th of the month. And then the 28th on the Wednesday, we bring Dundee to Celtic Park to finish off the month. So it's a highly important month. I would say this month is probably just as important as December when it comes to the fact that we are in the Scottish Cup, and it's all important games. Can we afford to drop any more points before the end of the season? I did say before the Aberdeen game, no, and we did drop points. We dropped 2 points. Let's see what happens over the space of the month with the league table. And if it is the fact that we do lose top spot, the fans will be enraged, considering at one point in the season we were 8 points ahead. So tell me what you think about the headlines this morning. Obviously, the funny one for me is the Frankie Boyle one. There should be a Peter Lawwell difficulty setting on Championship Manager, where you get to generate £20 million in revenue and sales and then go out and buy a loan player. Get a loan player in. It's fantastic from Frankie Boyle. Love him. Absolutely love him. Dyson Maeda and Rio Hatate aren't too happy about the fact that they're both out. Rio Hatate isn't pleased with his form and doesn't think he's good enough. What does that say for the mindset of the player that we've had all season? People are saying he's been off form all season. If he's going to come back to Celtic and get fit, does that mean his mindset is going to improve? Will he be the cracking midfielder that we've known over the past couple of seasons, the powerhouse in the middle of in the midfield, the driving force that was scoring goals freely over the past couple of years? Or will he be the man that is missing in the middle? Tell me your thoughts in the comments section. And on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.